Wii Sports Boxing was the first example of just how fun and exhausting playing a fighting game on the Wii can be. So we've been anxiously awaiting the first true throwdown simulator on the console, hoping that it will be a little more in-depth. Mortal Kombat Armageddon serves as the litmus test, but is it sweet science or a dull dispute?
It was foreseen that combatants would one day grow too powerful and too numerous.
The stories in past Mortal Kombat games haven't exactly made a whole lot of sense, and things aren't any different here. Apparently, there are too many combatants fighting at once, and the sheer violence threatens to rip the fabric of the realms apart. To save the realms from certain destruction, there will be one last tournament. There's also a story to the Conquest mode, where you play as Taven, a young man who has been frozen in stone, but is awakened to discover his destiny as the leader of Edenia, one of the realms in the MK mythos. Neither story is all that engrossing, yet it's admirable that Midway even bothered, considering most fighters don't.
The pyramid is completed. You are certain the battle will take place here, Delia.
The opening cinematic is impressive, but we had problems with the screen tearing when viewing it in progressive scan. Midway has included every single combatant in the history of the franchise, delivering a game with more content than any other fighting game in existence. Well, other than when Armageddon was released last year. Besides the central fighting game, it has a load of extra features. The Crypt has returned once again, allowing you to use coins earned in the various modes to purchase extra costumes, levels, sketches, songs, and videos. However, this time, there's no mystery involved in what you're about to buy. It tells you up front.
Outstanding.
There's also Mortal Kombat, a kart racing game featuring cartoonish versions of many of the combatants. It's a nice diversion, but like Puzzle Combat and Mortal Kombat Deception, it's a watered-down version of better games.
It's me, Mario!
As mentioned previously, there's also a single-player action-adventure mode dubbed Conquest. Here you control a character named Taven through a completely linear progression of brawls and one-on-one throwdowns. The story here isn't terrible, but the mode eventually simmers down to one repetitive fight after another. Standing on its own, it's well below average, but at least it's a different way to collect items and bonuses. There's also an extensive Create a Fighter option where you select everything from accessories to attacks. However, unlike the PlayStation 2 and Xbox versions, there's no online fighting to be found. If you're looking for a lot of meat on the bone in your fighters, Mortal Kombat Armageddon is one hearty meal, but the omission of online pugilism is disappointing. Immediately upon hearing that Mortal Kombat was coming to the Wii, we envisioned tossing Scorpion's spear by using a thrusting motion, and then swinging the Wii remote upward for the finishing uppercut. That's not what you get here. Special moves are controlled with gestures, but not in the way where you can interact with other players in your living room. Instead, you'll be shoving the Wii remote from side to side or up and down to perform teleports and projectile attacks. It's the easy way out, and to make matters worse, they don't always register. For a game like Mortal Kombat, where split-second timing is everything, it's almost a deal-breaker. Sure, tossing spears and ripping the heads off foes could be tiring, but is there anything really wrong with that? The traditional punches and kicks are mapped to the D-pad on the Wii remote, which can make things a little awkward. And overall, Mortal Kombat Armageddon is one of those games where the Wii gestures actually impede on the enjoyment of the game instead of increasing it. The good news is that you don't have to play with the Wii controls if you don't want to. You can instead use the classic controller or a GameCube controller, in which case it plays fine. But then, you're left with a game that's been available for last-gen systems for some time, yet it looks worse on the Wii. If you do play with an alternate controller or suffer through the Wii controls, you can look forward to the return of aerial combos and breakers, simplified fighting styles, and the same stiff memorization-focused combat that you've come to either love or hate. One new addition that may not sit well with the fans is Create a Fatality, where you can rip off the limbs of opponents one by one if you're skilled enough to keep entering inputs before the timer expires. It's novel at first, but we found ourselves missing the old system, even though level-specific fatalities are in much higher abundance. It's a shame that Midway hasn't been a little more ambitious with the Wii controls, allowing us to live out our childhood fantasies by actually performing moves we've been doing for years with button inputs. Even so, there is a solid old-school fighting game here underneath all the frills. We're definitely disappointed in the implementation of the Wii controls in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. It could be so much more than it is, and with the downgraded graphics and no online option, this is a lazy port. At the same time, there are more fighters, stages, and modes in here than you'll likely ever get around to messing with. And when using a GameCube or classic controller, it's a solid fighting game that fans of the series will get a lot of run out of.